What's going on, revolutionaries? Welcome to the war. My name is Iman. This is Emancipation. This housing crisis is killing a lot of people. Housing and rents are going up, and people aren't having it. And people are starting to open their eyes and see. So we're going to get into this video right here. If you want the link to the compilation without any of my commentary, it's linked down below. But without further ado, let's get right into it.
They're just not able to pay their bills, man. They're not. You're seeing more and more young people who are living at home with their parents until they're old people. They can't afford to move out.
Yeah, the cost
And
of
if they
homes.
do move out, they got 3, 4, 5 roommates.
Yeah, that's f***ed up. That's f***ed up. That's why when you think about it, though, like the average young generation right now, the younger generation, like for the most part, you won't be able to afford a home. You won't be. You don't get $1 million saved up. Something. Nah. That 10%, 20% down payment. You ain't moving like that. Not on $7.25, $8, $9 an hour. You're not. No. You have no choice but to stay at home with mom. But I don't think you can't vote your way out of shit like that.
Correct.
I don't care who's in office.
I think they're gonna hit the streets, man.
Hey.
I think it's just that simple, man. That war you've been talking about is closer than we think.
Deep down, there's a large demographic within America that wants a civil war to happen. 100% believe that.
He said something very telling there, which is you can't vote your way out of this. Look, these fat, rich people sitting on that hill don't give a damn about the rest of us. There's absolutely no way. There's only 3 things we can do to combat it. Well, 2 things we can do to combat it. 1 thing we can do to just accept it, right? Just lay down, no Vaseline, let them take it up to, well, you get what I'm trying to say. You could do that. 2, you could fight. Like he mentioned, some people might hit the streets. There might be a civil war because if people get angry enough and people get hungry enough, then there's a problem. I don't think people in power right now understand that happens. Like most revolutions happen because people got too hungry and had nowhere to live. So once people get hungry, you guys are in danger up there. Or number 3, which is what I recommend because I do not like violence, even though I'm a soldier, I would say we need to withdraw. We're not going to be buying these houses. Let's put our money into the stock market or put our money into high yield savings account, put our money anywhere else besides there. We're not going to be using credit at all because this whole system is ran off of credit. They want you to spend money you don't have, buying things you don't need to impress people you don't give a damn about. So we're not doing that no more. And we're going to withdraw. We're not going to go out to the theaters. We're not going to go out to these restaurants. We're not going to spend our money anywhere with these people until they decide to lower the prices on everything. When it comes to rent, live at home. Multi-generational housing is normal pretty much everywhere else in the world. Every culture on the planet, typically, and I'm going to say every, but most cultures on the planet are okay with generational housing. Like it's very normal for grandma, mama and dad, you and the grandbabies all live in the same house. America wants you to think that you're a bum if you stay at home with your family, when in reality, it's normal. They're your family. Why would you not stay at home with them? They want you to go out there to work, pay the bills, be a part of the economy, and die. That's what they want you to do. As soon as you move out, demand goes up. No, go back home, chill. F these people. Don't fall into their system.
The reason why housing is so expensive right now is because there is not enough housing and nothing else will change it until more housing is built. This is a chart showing housing inventory over time. It shows all of the residential properties which are available for rent or sale. And as you can see, it is the lowest that it's been in a very long time. Biggest reason age-wise is that baby boomers have just not had the good graces to begin perishing as a generation yet.
Damn, that was cold-blooded. He said, man, if y'all don't go hurry up and hop in that grave, that's wild to me. But let's continue. I'm sorry.
While millennials have hit peak home buying age, there are simply more buyers on the market than there are sellers. This has been added on to recently with certain financial decisions, such as with mortgage rates being incredibly low a couple years ago and have recently jumped up. What this has produced is essentially a lock-in effect, where if you purchased a home during this time or before, it's less expensive for you to just stay in the home that you have as opposed to move to another place, so people are just less likely to sell their homes. And this shortage of housing has been many years in the making. The biggest reason why is that we just stopped building building houses after the housing crisis, which, yeah, I know functionally makes sense, but like we never brought it back up quick enough, and now we're trying to play catch up. And a multiplier of this is, of course, that the price of just construction has also went up. There are obviously other things that affect the price of housing, but the fact remains that all of the easy political buzzwords that you can throw out to just exonerate yourself from the problem do not change this chart until these numbers begin to look a little bit more like these numbers. Mathematically, housing prices are going to suck. Should also make sure to mention that there's a whole lot of NIMBYism that influences these decisions. Meemaw and Peepaw, who bought their house back in these days, only want to see the price go up and to the right. However, that's terrible for everyone else who isn't Meemaw and Peepaw. Groundbreaking economic discovery. If demand is higher than supply, price goes up. Impossible, I know. But yeah, that's at least part of the reason why this sucks so much.
I think the big problem here is people are trying to control the uncontrollables. Prices are going up. The cost of construction is going up. The supply is low, but the demand is still high. The thing is, they sold you guys a pipe dream, telling you that the American dream, white picket fence, 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom house, 2 kids, that's the way to live. They sold you guys a dream, and you guys are still trying to abide by a dream. I think it's time for some of y'all to wake the hell up. It's over with. And here's what I'm saying. Control the controllables. We control the demand. They control the supply. If housing prices are too high, stop stretching to buy a house. Eventually, they're going to have to go down. When these houses are on the market for months, sometimes years, then eventually they have to go down, or they just take it off the market entirely. And then they'll try to re-upload it. Like I said, re-upload. My God. They try to relist it later. And the thing is, if we just keep saying, nah, we're not going to pay for it, eventually the price is going to have to go down. But you guys are under the idea that you have to buy a house. You do not have to buy a house. At least not when you think you have to. Wait for prices. Prices always drop eventually. They ebb and flow. Now, some people are like, if you wait for the market to go down, you'll never buy a home. That's perfectly fine. I'll put my money in a high yield savings account. I'll invest in the stock market. I'll Roth IRA, 401k. I'll invest in businesses. Strip clubs are always in demand, regardless of the economy. So we can control the controllables, control the demand, let them control the supply. But once we control the demand, we control the prices. We have to control ourselves and not stretch to feel like we have to buy a home, because regardless of what you might think, it's a lifestyle choice. It's not even that great of an investment. I got a whole video I'm gonna make about that. But you stop buying in. Withdrawal. The whole point of this channel is to help you emancipate yourself from mental slavery and live a life of freedom, fun, adventure, all that. But part of that is breaking free from this dream, waking the hell up, drinking the coffee, and saying, you know what, I'm not going to go that route, because everybody that goes that route can't stand it. There's too many people making too many videos talking about how owning a home is more expensive than they thought. They had to move an hour away or hour and a half away. Now they have a 3-hour commute every single day, an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back to work so that they can afford their house. If you have to stretch to buy your house, instead of buying from a position of strength, you are too lost in the sauce, buddy. You overdosed on sauce. You need to not fall into that. If you feel like, oh man, if I buy this house, I probably have to cut back on going out. I won't eat as much. Not too many movie theaters. I like the movies, but I'm not going to go to the theater anymore. I can't go to the strip club as often as I'd like to go. If you have to do all that, that means that house is outside of your range. Your house should enhance your lifestyle. It shouldn't be a detriment to the rest of your life. So you added one thing, but you have to remove everything else. Now you can't travel as much. Now you can't go out as much. Now you can't do all these things. Control yourself. Control the demand, and the supply will have to decrease in price. It's economics.
It blew my mind when I realized how much money you need to actually earn to afford an apartment in the United States. The average apartment is around $1,600 a month. Now, people always say, 30% of your income should go towards housing and living expenses. But I don't really like 30% rule, because that's gross income. We need to be talking about your net income, how much money you actually keep, because you might make $100K a year, but that doesn't mean that you keep $100,000. So if $1,600, right, for rent is 30%, that means that you need to take home around $5,300 a month after taxes. And in order to keep $5,300 after taxes, you realistically need to be making $85,000 to $90,000 a year. but the average American only makes 75,000 a year. So already the average apartment requires more than what the average person actually makes. Now let's zoom in a little bit. I live in Philadelphia. The average income here is around 62,000 a year. After taxes, that's around $4,000 a month. So if your rent is 1,600, that's 40% of your income just going to where you live. And that's before food, that's before gas, you know what I mean? That's before everything else. Now let's take it even further. Minimum wage in Pennsylvania is $7.25, right? And that's the same as federal minimum wage. But let's just say for PA, right? If you work full time, minimum wage, that's $1,100 after taxes per month. Rent is $1,600. So you literally can't even afford an average apartment. So now you might say, what if you make $15 an hour? Let's do that. $15 an hour full time is $2,600 a month before taxes. That's around $2,200 a month after taxes. So 30% of 2,200 is $660. But rent is $1,600. So even at $15 an hour, you're spending over 70% of your income just on your rent. So no, housing is unaffordable. If you watch this entire thing, comment down below real so I know you see what's going on. And send this to someone who's trying to move out right now because we all need to start making more money.
He actually hit the nail on the head right there at the end of it, is that you need to make more money. Sorry to tell you guys, but this is a life where we're going to have to make money to live. Now, he said that the minimum wage in Philly was $7.25 an hour. I don't know that to be true, but if it is true, I mean, he said in Pennsylvania, sorry, not in Philly. In Pennsylvania, it's $7.25 an hour. That's absolutely crazy. I don't think that should be normal. Now, I'm not a big proponent of raising the minimum wage. Reason being is because all these other companies are going to be like, we have to pay you more, we're going to charge you more. It's just how it is. They're going to put those costs onto the consumer. So at the end of it, it all evens out. And actually, sometimes it's worse. Let's say they give you a 10% raise. They're going to raise their prices by 10.5% just so that they can make up the difference and actually make more profit. So raising the minimum wage is never a thing. And as far as affordable housing, supply and demand. Move back home if you can. If you can move back home, please do that. Now, $1,600 a month is the average. Don't live in the average. Live in the below average as far as price goes. Still try to find a place that's safe. But if you cannot move back home, do not buy a place that is in the average cost range. You're going to go below average, well below average if you have to. Rent a room if you have to. Get roommates if you have to. Now, when it comes to getting the roommates, this is kind of dangerous because you can find you some bums. So when you get a roommate, it has to be people that are on the same path as you, who are trying to level up like you, and you guys have to create an agreement. Like, just because you like level up, you don't move out until we all kind of get it together. And if you choose to leave, you have to find somebody to replace you, type deal. But you're gonna have to make a little bit more money and live more frugal because it's it's not getting any easier. I'm sorry, it's just not. Things are just gonna keep getting harder, especially if we keep buying into the system. The reason that they charge so much on rent is because somebody's gonna buy it. Somebody's gonna stretch themselves to afford it. Pause. Somebody is gonna make it happen some way, somehow. They're gonna diminish their lifestyle so they can get this apartment that they think they deserve. When in reality, they should either move back home or live somewhere that's very, very, very cheap while they level up their skills, while they level up their earning potential, and then when they get back into the market, they have more leverage. They don't have to worry about the cost of everything because you've leveled up your skills, you've leveled up your experience, you've leveled up your money. Now, this isn't a level up type of channel. Don't get it twisted here. When I say leveled up, it's I want you guys to make enough money to where money's not something that you're chasing anymore. I'm all for living a simple, fun lifestyle. I keep my material costs like low, like as far as rent, car, this, that, whatever. That way I can spend money on the experiences that I like. I love going to the movie theaters. I like going to go eat out. I'm not a big restaurant like chain restaurant guy. I like to go like local eateries and like burger houses. I'm gonna let y'all know. You can see I'm kind of chunky. So I keep where I live really humble. That way I can go take trips. And the trips I take don't have to be abroad. You guys know how big America is? Everything you want to see in other countries exists right here. I promise you. You want to go to China? Come to LA. We got Chinatown. You want to go to Mexico? They got Old Town San Diego. Looks just like Mexico. And you can actually just drive right to Mexico from there too, actually. You want to go to Germany? Go to Santa Barbara. There's a town called Solvang. I promise you, anything you want to see around this world exists here in the United States. Matter of fact, a big portion of the world model themselves after the United States. The archetype for the rest of the world is New York. You want to go to Tokyo, Japan? Go to Times Square. Okay, the food might not be as good, and people might be a little bit more rude, depending on your race. But I promise you, you can have fun traveling anywhere. You want to go to Dubai? We got deserts all over the place, baby. You don't need to go to Dubai to see a desert. You want to go gamble? Go to Vegas. You got the desert, and I promise you, it can be a lot simpler. Like, you can enjoy your life without having to enjoy it the way people tell you have to enjoy it.
So I know you see what's going on. And send this to someone who's trying to move out right now, because we all need to start making more money.
Yo, the cost of living is ridiculous. So, you know, my lease is about to end, and, you know, I'm apartment hunting, just looking around. And I haven't been apartment hunting in so long because I've been in my current place for about 2 years. And now that I'm looking, I'm like, oh, this is what they talking about. I'm looking at 1 bedrooms for $2,000, $2,100, 2 bedrooms, $2,300. I would never pay that for an apartment. I will never. And I know a lot of people keep saying, you know, just get a house, get a house. It's not that simple, buddy. When you have a house, your base mortgage could be $1,600, but all the other stuff you got to pay on top of that, you're paying a lot more than that. I know people paying $2,600 for mortgage, $2,700 for a mortgage. No, I'm not doing that right now. And then you understand property taxes, HOA fees, all.
If you have an HOA fee, run like the goddamn Flash. I'm telling you to run. Now, HOAs do serve a purpose sometimes, because those Karens are necessary evil sometimes. But typically speaking, I tell people, if you see HOA, get the hell out of there.
All that stuff that adds up. Having a house is not cheap. It's very expensive, and you need to be financially well off to have a house. And most people are not financially well off, and they have houses and they're house poor. I don't want to be that person. Baby steps. Now, I'm thinking to myself, there's no way I'm paying that much for an apartment. But at this point, I have no choice. I had set up an apartment tour, and God be speaking to me. I set up an apartment tour. I knew something was off because the prices were a little down there. This morning, that same apartment complex I set up a tour for, they said someone got shot and killed this morning. Tour canceled. And my prayers go out to whoever the victim was. But yes, tour is canceled. I'm not about to go get an apartment someone just actively got killed at. So next option.
Why not? I'll probably negotiate the rent down now. This place is haunted. You crazy? $2,000? I need at least $400 a month off this rent. It's spooky in here. Once you know we know that the spooks are gone, they've passed on. Then yeah, you crazy? I would have negotiated that price down. I'll be like, there's gonna be no down payment here. This spooky ass place. You tripping? But just because somebody got shot there, people get shot in Beverly Hills. It happens. But yeah, crazy. Negotiate that price down, boy.
At this point, it's looking like I might have to pay $2,100 for an apartment. I seen these one apartments. They were beautiful, gorgeous, in a good area. $2,200 for a 2-bedroom. I think not. I don't know what I'm going to do at this point. I have absolutely no clue what I'm going to do. I don't want to move to the hood. I don't want rats and roaches. I don't want shootouts, and I don't want my car getting broken into. I don't want to live in a nice area, but I'm damn near broke every paycheck paying for rent. I don't know what to do. I really don't. I don't want to stay in my current apartments because now people are starting to catch on to how low the price is, and now it's starting to become ghetto. So I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I have no idea. And this whole hustle, I'm not with the hustle culture. Life is too short for that. I don't feel like hustling. People talk about you sleep when you die. I don't got time for that. I want to live a good life here. I want it to be peaceful. I want it to be stress-free. I want life to be stress-free. I don't got time to be grinding to the point where I can't enjoy life. I don't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? People, you retired at 67? No, I don't got time for that. I'm 35. I'm tired of the grinding. I'm not trying to live a difficult life. I'm trying to live a easy life. I don't care what none of y'all say. All that hustle bustle, all this stuff, American culture, y'all got it.
I 100% agree with this. This clip is a little longer than I expected, so I'm gonna break it up. But I 1000% agree with that because I'm anti hustle. Let me not say anti hustle culture. I'm all about the 36-month hustle. You give yourself 3 years of just putting your head down and going after it, and you will never have to do that again if you make all the right decisions. And I'm not saying all the right decisions. You make some good decisions in 36 months. That's all it takes to make sure the rest of your life is good. I don't believe in retiring at 65 either. I feel like that whole retirement thing is a freaking scam. They tell you just work until you're 65 and now you can enjoy life. Hey, buddy, I don't want to be 70 years old on the beach looking at women. You look even creepier than when you do it at 35. So it's like, no, I'm not about enjoying my life only for the last 20 years. I want to enjoy my life right now. And the thing is, he pointed something out that I think we need to touch on. It's called a false dichotomy, where it's like he doesn't want to move to the hood, but he doesn't want to pay these expensive prices. There's a middle ground. You don't have to pay. He keeps saying I. So I don't know if he has any wife and kids, but based on his based on context, we're gonna speculate here that it's just him. He mentioned a 2 bedroom. What you need a 2 bedroom for? You get that studio apartment, bro. You by yourself. You can stay in a decent area. Get that. I wish he would have said where he lived at, but get that studio apartment and live a little bit more frugal. That way you have more money to go live the rest of your life. It's not like I have to live in a really nice area or the ghetto. That's a false dichotomy. That's how they trick you into buying more expensive things because they associate the complete other end of the spectrum with something so negative that you want to get as far away from that side as possible. False dichotomies are a terrible thing. You don't have to live in a nice area or the ghetto. There's something in between. You can live in a decent area. And then when you're in that decent area, you can get you a studio apartment, get you something more affordable. You don't have to pick one or the other, nice or ghetto. That's not a thing.
I'm tired. I'm tired of doing that. I don't want to just work. No, I'm looking for a way out. I'm looking for something different. I might have to just move out of this country at this point, but yeah, I'm done.
So can we stop telling people that they're living above their means when they start complaining about the cost of things? Because when I got this apartment right here, clearly you can see it's a starter apartment. It's not anything luxury. Clearly not anything luxury. Not luxury at all. Look at the blinds. It's not luxury. Look at the closet. It's not luxury. You know what I paid? What does that say? Oh, $945 a month for a 1 bedroom. Y'all can see 2019. Lease was ending in 2020.
900 a month, even in 2019. That's great pricing for a 1 bedroom. I don't know what city he's at. It says Big Creek Apartment, Georgia. No, that's not bad.
2020. You want to know what that apartment goes for now? I don't know what it goes for now. Oh, almost $2,000. Oh, why don't we just follow the advice of a boomer? Why don't we just purchase a home? Even the small rinky-dink homes like this are going for $323,000.
Now, as someone who lives in Los Angeles, if I can get a house for $323,000, looking like that, I'm jumping on it. I'll buy three, based on what pricing of housing is out here. But yeah, just move. If you can move back home, or like move to a very cheaper part of the city, or get you something smaller like a studio apartment somewhere. I know it may seem like you're depriving yourself, or like you're downsizing is like a shot to you, but honestly, when things get expensive, you just withdraw your money. And the more people do that, the more these companies and these landlords and everybody is are gonna have to adjust their prices, because it is supply and demand. I say this all the time. They control the supply, but we control the demand. As a unit, we all have to come together to be like, I'm not about to pay $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 a month for a Roach Motel. Now that apartment was not a Roach Motel, but I'm not about to pay that kind of money for that, and none of us will. The problem is there's always somebody willing to pay for it, and to those people, kudos to you. You fucking up the game. But I would say that just withdraw. I say it all the time, withdraw. The revolution is not going to be televised. I call you guys the Revolutionary Army because this revolution is going to be real quiet, going to be real chill. We're just withdrawing. We're not spending our money at places like this. We'll move back home. We'll live with roommates if need be. But I really recommend moving back home though. Multi-generational housing is literally a cheat code to level up in wealth, because as a family unit, you guys can put your money together and build wealth together if you do it the right way. But yeah, absolutely freaking not. And I know that I said that this house was 330,000 is sounds amazing to me, but I know that for this area, absolutely freaking not. Not for that thing. That looks like a shack. I think our back house is bigger than that.
The gag is, as early as 2014, this home sold for $48,000. $48,000. And if you look in 2012, it sold for $39,000. They have the audacity to be charging $323,000. I'm not even going to talk about gas prices. I'm not even going to talk about gas prices. I didn't even talk about groceries. These are literally the essentials. Just living. The living expenses are astronomical. But for some reason, y'all keep telling people that they're just living above their means. I remind you, this apartment is almost $2,000 and it's not a luxury apartment. Y'all want to hop into the comment section talking about, oh, well, I found an apartment that was $700 a month. Yeah, and as soon as you click on the reviews, you see roach infestation, rodent infestation, guns, shooting, weed, all of these things. People should not be subjected to that if they don't want to be subjected to that. If having a safe and clean place is living above your means, then hell yeah, I'm going to live above my means.
Again, with the false dichotomies, why is it roaches on one end and luxury on the other end? There is a middle ground. There is a middle ground. You don't need luxury, and you sure as hell should not be living in any kind of rodent infested anywhere. Like, I don't want to be walking down my hallway and then Alvin and the Chipmunks is in the corner singing or something like that. I that's not what I want, and that's not what anybody wants. But again, supply and demand. We keep giving them the demand, so they're gonna increase the price of the supply. And right now, supply is at an all-time low. They're not building as many houses as they used to. And honestly, if we really want to get into it, maybe I'll do a video about how private equity companies have destroyed the housing market because they're buying up all these properties and they're fudging the numbers. They have a system that they use to make everything more expensive. So they'll buy all the houses in one area, hold them, and then sell 3 houses to themselves, raise the prices of those houses. Like, they might buy 100 houses in a single area, leave them empty for a year, and then they'll sell 3 houses to themselves at 700,000 when they bought them at 300,000. Now all of a sudden, property value has gone up because these people decided to, fudge the system. So private equity has a lot to do with that. Now, when it comes to things like groceries and things of that nature, this is gonna sound rough, and I know it may seem like I'm telling you guys just to accept the BS, but you're just gonna have to be a little bit more frugal when you go buy your groceries. Don't buy the name brand Oreos. Buy the tuxedo cookies. Buy the black and white cookies. Don't buy Oreos at all. Eat the basics like rice, beans, chicken, ground meats, things of that nature, and live more. Groceries are expensive, yeah, but it can be a lot cheaper. Think about all the groceries you buy that you end up throwing away in the long run. And I'm not saying that this is okay. I honestly 100% saying we need to fight this system, but the best way to fight it is withdrawing. That is the absolute best way. Withholding our money, withholding everything. Some people are even saying withholding taxes. Like, nobody's going to pay their taxes until, we figure it out. But I feel bad for anybody going through this.
The boomers always like to remind us that the reason their houses were so affordable in the late 70s and early 80s is because the square footage was only 1,200 square feet. The average square footage today is 1,800. So we have a 600 square foot difference. So of course, our house is going to be more expensive.
I didn't know that the average size of a house used to be 1,200 square feet. That is actually news to me. And to be honest, that's really all you need. You guys don't need these big lavish houses, especially if you don't have any children or a wife. A lot of people are house poor because they buy the most house they can afford. Really, they can't afford it, instead of buying what they need. But let's listen to more of what he has to say.
Let's run the numbers and see how this works out. In 1980, the median house price was $50,000. If you adjust that for inflation, it's $210,000, and the average square footage was 1,200. So you take $210,000 divided by 1,200, gives you $175 per square foot. Now you look at 2026, our median home price is $400,000. But if you take 1,800 square feet, multiply it by their $175 square foot, you get only $315,000. But they also bring up they didn't have central air. It wasn't as popular. So let's add another $15,000 because we have central air, gives us $330,000. Meaning it should be $330, not $400,000. We're still 70, 80, 90,000 above what it should be adjusted for inflation and including things like AC and the square footage difference.
No centralized AC. I know they was musty. But on a serious note, this is $70,000, $80,000 above what it should be. It's because there's not a lot of housing, like the earlier video mentioned. There's not a lot of housing out there, and people are stretching to buy it. People are competing for houses that they can't afford, which is crazy to me. Private equity companies are buying up everything, and they're like, you can't vote your way out of this. You can't. Nobody on that Capitol Hill is going to accept it. There's only really two ways to deal with it: either withdraw or heads are going to have to roll. I'm not recommending that by any means. I am not. I do not want any violence. But those are the only ways things get solved. People in power fear two things: loss of finances or loss of life. And unless you guys want to threaten their life, you're gonna have to threaten their finances. So what does that mean? I keep saying it: withdraw, 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 because the housing prices are absolutely outrageous. Here in the state of California, the average cost of a house is $880,000. So that 400,000, please, we would, if we see a $400,000 house, there's going to be mobs in front of the house fighting each other to the death to buy a $400,000 house. I don't think a single $400,000 house exists in the state of California. The land alone it sits on probably costs $400,000, and then you have to spend. I'm not even going to get into the finances of California because it's absolutely outrageous. The weather's amazing, at least here in SoCal. The weather is amazing, but is it worth double what the average cost of a house the rest of the country is? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it, but I do like the weather. I'm not going to lie to you. So I don't see myself leaving Los Angeles anytime soon, but I'm not tied to this city. I'm not tied to this state, and I'm not tied to this country. Don't forget, guys, there was a point in time where a lot of people immigrated to America for more opportunity. It may be time for Americans to immigrate somewhere else for a better opportunity. Don't feel like you're stuck here, especially when you consider that people used to move away from their homes before cell phones, before FaceTime, before email. All they had were letters, and those weren't guaranteed to make it. People would leave their families in other countries and probably never see them again in hopes for a better life. So, that being said, you may have to move. You may have to leave the country. And it's okay to do that. You might be thinking to yourself, I shouldn't have to leave the country. People have been doing this since the dawn of time. Human beings have always been like nomadic. It wasn't until the hunter, like farming came about where people actually settled in one area. Typically, people were hunter gatherers, which basically is what we're doing now. They moved to where the food was moving. When the animals migrated, the people migrated. Right now, it's not animals that we're chasing, it's the better lifestyle. The better lifestyle has migrated outside of the United States of America. So it may be time to migrate with the better lifestyles. People are going to Bali. People are going to Thailand. People are going to the Caribbean. People are going to a lot of different places. And it may be time to make that move. You're going to have to be the immigrant now. You're going to have to leave now because this country don't give a damn about you. You're going to be the person with the accent in another country. Yeah, y'all be making fun of them. And, I'm me being an immigrant myself. Y'all be making fun of them. It might be time for you to be the immigrant. My father left his family in the 90s. I didn't know my father when I was first born because he wasn't in the country, because he came to America for a better life. I had to meet my father. Not that, and I didn't meet my father the way some of y'all met him. He wanted to be my father. He just came to America for a better life. It just so happened my mom was pregnant. He found out my mom was pregnant when he left. So you guys need to understand that it may be time to just withdraw entirely.
Adjusted for inflation and including things like AC and the square footage difference.
You want to know how bad inflation is? I just talked to a home building company about possibly building me a house. Growing up, I was always told that building a house is actually cheaper and you actually get what you want in your home. At least that's what I thought. Now, I live in a pretty decent area. I'm not talking about $1 million homes, but I do live in a decent middle class area. And the problem that I'm having is that I don't want to spend $400,000 on a home that was built in the 90s and only has 3 bedrooms. Now, I was thinking that $400,000 does sound like a good bit of change to go build yourself a home. So I call up this home construction company and I'm as happy as I can be because I'm about to tell them, hey man, I'm willing to spend $400, maybe even $500,000 for you to build me a house. So I get this guy on the phone, I give him my little spiel. Hey, how you doing? I'm thinking about building a home. Let me know what you got for me. He goes, no problem. That's what I specialize in. Then he asks me the magical question, what's your budget? At this point, I've been waiting for this question. I'm about to tell him 400,000. I'm about to hear him jumping up in the air and we're about to have a kumbaya moment. I tell him 400,000 thinking he's going to talk me up to 500,000, but this man says, ooh, do you already have the land?
Damn. You have $400,000 and he's talking about, do you already have the land? I wonder how much the land costs. This is kind of wild. But oof, do you already have the land? That means he's about to get it. Let's
The land? No, this is why I'm contacting you because I don't have anything. Put me on. You're supposed to be letting me know what's up. This man proceeds to tell me that the area that I'm in, the land itself is $400,000 and he doesn't do any construction on homes that are even less than $500,000. He then proceeds to tell me that they don't do land and home loans together. Those are separate things. So I say to him, wait, hold up. You're talking too fast. You're telling me that I will have to pay two separate loans with two separate interest rates and I will be paying $900,000 on a $500,000 home? He goes, yeah, the housing market is really messed up right now and the price of lumber is through the roof. It sounds like you want one of those new construction bills that's 45 minutes out from where you are right now. And I said, sir, I'm sorry for wasting your time, and I just hung up the phone. But that's how bad inflation is right now. But y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll see y'all in the next one.
I'm happy that he decided to just be like, nah, bitch, I'm cool. Because that's what it takes. He was like, I'm not doing that. And we need more of that. He looks like he's very disappointed. But then the question is, why do you need the house right now? I don't know if he has any kids. I don't know if he has a family. But again, if you have, let's say, $400,000, and let's say you put down 20%, right? 20% of 400,000 is 20,000. Put that 20,000 in the stock market. Put it in the Vanguard S&P 500. Well, that's what I would do. This is not financial advice, but this is what I would do. If I put that 20,000 in the Vanguard ETF, the S&P 500 or like VTI, and I just let it sit there, it's gonna appreciate over time. And then on top of that, it's like while it's appreciating, I can still look for a house. That way, when I pull it, if I pull it to pay for the down payment, then I might have more money for a down payment than I did before. Like you don't feel pressured to buy a house, guys. Don't let the American dream fool you. You got to be asleep to believe that nonsense still. George Carlin said that. So he said they don't even work on houses below 500,000. He said the cost of lumber is so high. Why is the cost of lumber so high? Are they building new kinds of trees? Like, where do you guys what? And then you can also ask them how much it costs to make a concrete house. Those are actually the best kinds of houses. Houses made of cinder block and concrete. Boy, something you can't shoot through. I grew up in the hood, so I think about stuff like that. And that's apparently crazy expensive too. And it shouldn't be too expensive because when you really think about it, concrete houses last forever. That's probably why they'll charge you more because they're like, man, we're not gonna have to do any repairs on this anytime soon. So let's hike up these prices. But the fact of the matter is, withdraw. Just withdraw. Screw these people. Screw all that. We're not buying. We're not doing it anymore.
The economy isn't working for working people. The reason why we have an affordable housing crisis in this country is by design. It's not a crisis. If you look at what's happening in the housing market right now, private equity and large corporations in the next 50 years will own the majority of residential housing. And most people will be renters. And you're already seeing a trend with people in their 20s and 30s and 40s are buying houses later on in life. And most people already from 18 to 40 are disproportionately renters and not homeowners compared to the generation before them and the generation before that. And so it's the same thing. That's by design. Mm-hmm. That's not just happening by accident or it's just a trend and it's just there's other. No, that's by design.
Here's my thing with that. It is by design. Here's how I view America and the American dream. It's a dream that they sold you. And they sold it to you. You bought it and then they took it away. I equate it to getting a trial run for an app. You buy an app, they give you the free trial, It's amazing. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna keep this app, and then they start hitting you with monthly fees. Monthly fees. You want to upgrade the app? Oh man, you gotta pay another fee. Oh, you want these features? You gotta pay for something else. Yeah, we know you already paid for the app, but this is an in-app purchase. So yeah, you're gonna have to pay for this. You want? Oh, we got a new feature out. You're gonna have to pay for that too. Yeah, we know you already bought the app, but da 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 da. So what happens is people in the '70s bought this dream. It was a trial run. White picket fence, 2-bedroom house, 2 kids, affordable housing, affordable cars, cheap gasoline. America was good. This is, after the Great Depression, of course. America was in a good place. Yeah, people still struggled here to there, but most people didn't need two-income households. You didn't necessarily need to work overtime. Some men still worked overtime because it did help them get over the edge and save and buy something bigger, but you didn't have to. That was the trial run. They convinced everybody to come here. They convinced everybody this is the place to be. And then they pulled the rug from underneath you. Trial run's over, motherfucker. Welcome to the real world. That's really what it was. They hit everybody with a trial run. People bought in. And then they're like, well, trial's over. Welcome to the real world. And we're going to tax you on everything. You want to breathe? There's a tax for that. You want to walk? There's a tax for that. Here in California, not only is there a gas tax, but now there's a highway tax. So you're taxing me to put gas in my car and then tax me to drive these roads that you already take taxes on to repair the roads. Y'all don't repair nothing. True story. I hit a pothole and then got it. My check engine light came on. Boom, light. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I hit a pothole one time, instant flat tire. I was like, yo. I went on, that's a little bit of a rant, but they tax people to freaking death. Entire wars have been fought over taxes. America, one of the main reasons we fought against the English crown was because of taxes. There were a few other things. I know in school they teach you taxation without representation, Boston Massacre, Boston Tea Party, things like that. But there were a lot of things that went into it. But entire wars, entire civilizations have crumbled over taxes. I don't think people are angry enough. And even if people are angry, I don't necessarily think that people know how to fight besides complaining. I fight by withdrawing. You ain't getting my money. I'm gonna put my money somewhere else. And I know people will be like, yo, don't leave your money in a savings account because you're just losing money over time due to inflation. Which is true. Which is true. But if you put it in a high yield savings account, at the very least, it'll match the rate of inflation. Or if it doesn't match it, if some of them actually go above the cost of inflation, you have Roth IRAs and 401ks and things like that that are better than regular savings account. But even if you just save your money cash, having cash on hand, even if it's worth a little bit less than what it would be if it acquired interest, is better than nothing. So save your money, preferably in a high yield savings account or a Roth IRA, 401k, investment account, ETF, whatever you got to do. But yeah, just withdraw. Put your money somewhere else. Don't put it into these stupid systems that are just screwing you over.
The trend, and it's just there's other. No, that's by design.
Now, some people say if you rent, you're just throwing money away. You should own if you can. But owning a house is also very expensive. And I don't want this video to discourage you from buying a house or encourage you to buy houses for educational purposes only. But I want to show you my wife and I's loan. $359,000 we owe at a 5.75% interest rate. We have a 30-year fixed loan and we've been paying on it for 3.5 years. But just look at how expensive this is and how little is going towards the principal, especially at first. So our monthly payment is $2,825, but our interest is $1,720. Our property taxes and homeowners insurance is about $600 a month, but only $480 a month is going towards paying down that $359 because our loan amount is so high right now, so the interest is kicking our ass. So we're gonna send in $2,825 for 12 months, and it's gonna be basically $34,000 that we're gonna send in for our house. And this doesn't include utilities, this doesn't include maintenance, this doesn't include our security system, this doesn't include our $97 HOA. So probably more like $35,000 to $36,000 we're gonna send in this year. However, only $5,800 is going to go towards paying down the principal. The reason
Sounds like a scam to me. I don't know how we got to this point, but this is a scam to me. My goodness. Let me see the
This
breakdown.
happens is because the higher your loan is, the more interest you're paying, because we're paying 5.75% on the total balance. So it's going to take us until year 19 until our principal outweighs our interest if we don't make any extra principal payment. Lastly, I was thinking, well, 3.5 years, we've probably spent $110,000 that we've sent in monthly, and only 19 or 20,000 has gone towards the principal. I got to really make it a priority to send in extra principal payments, because the lower the principal goes, the quicker it'll be that we can actually pay this off and not be hit with so much interest.
And that, my friends, is the opportunity cost of having a house. Yeah, the mortgage might be lower than rent. That's what they tell you. Mortgage is lower than rent. And they tell you, well, if you own a home, if you rent, you're just paying someone else's mortgage. You're making someone else's rich. Anytime you spend money, you're making someone else rich. Anytime you spend money, you're paying someone else's mortgage. When you buy the house, you're paying someone else's mortgage because there is a bank that services the loan. You're paying them. They're paying their mortgage. There's the broker who sold, not the broker, there's the real estate agent who bought and sold the house for you. They got a percentage. You're paying their mortgage. Like, get out of this idea that you're helping someone else pay their mortgage. And even if you are, so every time you spend $1, it's going into someone else's pocket anyway. But for whatever reason, when it comes to rent, they're like, you don't want to help the landlord pay their mortgage. Just pay your own. Yeah, get out of here. They've sold you guys a dream. And I'm not saying buying a house is a bad thing. Now, I don't look at it as a good investment. I look at it as a lifestyle choice that you should make when it makes sense for you, and you shouldn't stretch to buy one. But you're not going to trick me into believing that I have to do this. You're not going to do that. I'm going to buy a house when it makes sense for me, and only then. And when I buy it, it's going to be something that I can afford, something that doesn't decrease my external lifestyle. So I'm not going to cut out anything that I'm doing for fun. I'm not going to stop my travel. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And until I can find something that meets what I need perfectly, I'm not doing it. And you shouldn't do it either. Don't let them trick you. Don't let them convince you that you need to be a part of this dream and go to sleep like everybody else. Wake your goddamn ass up and realize you're being effed over. I don't know why I'm censoring myself now. I didn't cuss too many times. I'm not gonna censor it. I don't have any subscribers and I don't have any monetization anyway, so they can't demonetize a non-monetized video. But go out there and start living your life free. Live your life free. Don't worry about the system. Whatever's going on around you, let it happen. Live your life on your terms, not the terms that they sold you.